Hello there, very good evening to all of you and welcome to the news tonight. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting in the day's top stories. Let's start with the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces compensation for crop damage. Assistance to farmers increased 1.5 times. Banks asked to restructure loans for affected people. Mudra Bank for Small Entrepreneurs launched. New institution to provide credit to up to 10 lakh rupees for small entities. Will act as regulator for microfinance institutions. A day after 20 alleged red sandal smugglers were shot dead in Chittoor district by Andhra Pradesh police personnel, protests break out in Tamil Nadu. And operations in Yemen to evacuate stranded Indians extended by a day. Over 4,000 Indians rescued now from the war-torn country. Our top story, in a major reprieve for farmers hit by unseasonal rain and storms, the government today raised the compensation for crop damage. Prime Minister Narendra Modi made the announcement and also promised it would be easier to claim financial support from the government.
To farmers affected by unseasonal rains and hailstorms has been increased to 1.5 times. The Prime Minister made the announcement at the launch of a microfinance bank and regulator.
अगर उसको नुकसान में पहले 100 रुपया मिलता था 150 मिलेगा, लाख मिलता था तो 1.5 लाख मिलेगा, उसकी मदद 1.5 गुना कर दी जाएगी। कभी हमारे यहाँ इंक्रीमेंटल होता था 5%, 2%, 50% वृद्धि, और ये किसान को तत्काल मदद मिले। राज्यों ने सर्वे का काम किया है, भारत सरकार और राज्य सरकार मिलकर के उसको आगे बढ़ाएगी। लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं कि हमारे देश के किसानों को जितनी मदद हो सके उतनी मदद करने के लिए ये सरकार संकल्पबद्ध है।
To make farmers' lives easier, the Prime Minister has also asked banks to restructure loans of affected farmers and told insurance companies to settle claims faster. The criterion of 50% crop damage for providing compensation has now been reduced to 33%, helping more farmers get compensation for their losses faster than before.
हमारे मंत्री अभी जाकर के आए, उन्होंने प्रत्यक्ष देखा, और ये सब देखने के बाद एक बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय हमने किया है कि अब किसान का वो जो 50% के नुकसान वाला जो दायरा था उसको बदल करके 33% भी अगर नुकसान हुआ है तो भी वो किसान हकदार बनेगा। उसके कारण मुझे मालूम है बहुत बड़ा बोझ आने वाला है।
In recent weeks, over a dozen debt-laden farmers have committed suicide after unseasonal storms damaged the rabi crop in large parts of northern India. Over 10 million hectares of crops have been damaged.
सबसे पहले तो हमने राज्यों को पत्र दिया कि राज्यों के पास SDRF का पैसा है या फिर कंटीजेंसी फंड है, उससे अविलंब किसानों को राहत दे। जो NDRF का पुराना नॉर्म्स है, और आज हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने घोषणा कर दी है कि वो जो नॉर्म्स था उसको हमने 1.5 गुना कर दिया। लेकिन राज्य सरकार को करना है और उसके पास पैसे हैं।
The announcement of higher compensation comes even as the government battles perception that it is anti-farmer. The government has been trying to push through a bill to make land acquisition easier for industry and to develop roads, ports and power stations among other infrastructure projects. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Also in a push to generate employment, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched a Micro-Units Development Refinance Agency or the Mudra Bank. Modi said that providing financial assistance to unfunded small entrepreneurs will be the government's priority.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi launching the Mudra Bank for Small Entrepreneurs. The bank will provide credit of up to 10 lakh rupees to small entities besides acting as a regulator for microfinance institutions. Mudra will have finance, registration, accreditation and rating guidelines for micro-enterprise entities besides ensuring client protection principles and recovery methods.
1.25 करोड़ लोगों को रोजगार, ये जो बहुत बड़े बड़े लोगों जिनके लिए दुनिया में चर्चा रहती है, आधा अखबार जिनसे भरा पड़ा रहता है, वो देते हैं। लेकिन इस देश में छोटा छोटा काम करने वाला व्यक्ति करीब 5 करोड़ 70 लाख लोग 12 करोड़ लोगों को रोजगार देते हैं।
Launched under the Jan Dhan Yojana, another important objective of the bank is to increase employment opportunities in the country.
This is funding the unfunded. जिनको आज तक साधन नहीं मिलता था, उन लोगों तक वो साधन पहुंचे, ये इसका एक प्रयास है. इसका आरंभ हम लोग आज कर रहे हैं.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley announced the Mudra Bank project in his budget proposals this year. The centre is hoping that more aid to small entrepreneurs will speed up development, besides providing timely credit for their units. The Prime Minister distributed cheques worth 50,000 each to entrepreneurs from Uttar Pradesh and other states on Tuesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, so for more on this, let's speak to Professor N.R. Bhanumurthy, who's from the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy, joining us this evening in studio. Thank you so much, Professor, for being here. First of all, your reaction to Mudra Bank and also the kind of interest that it's perhaps generating.
Well, I think the crux of the story is that, the financial access for any productive activity is something which is very crucial. We have been forcing the banking sector to reduce the interest rate for the industrial investments, but there's not much of focus on the small and medium enterprises, both in the manufacturing and service sector. In that context, this concept of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is very path-breaking.
Okay.
More so, many of the studies have showed that financial access is one of the major obstacles for the small enterprises. And our own studies have showed nearly 80% of the finances in this sector has been financed by the informal sources. Given this kind of extent of dependency on the informal sector, we all know that the transaction costs are going to be very high, and I think this Mudra Bank is going to be really a game changer, particularly in MSME sector, both in the manufacturing as well as in the service sector. Having said that,
yes,
as the Prime Minister has very rightly pointed out, this sector has a huge employment potential. I think any improvement in funding activity in this sector would improve the employment opportunities for a large number of segments, both in the rural as well as in the urban areas.
Okay, so what you're saying is, by and large, the reaction to this, at least, that you're getting the generation of interest, of course, is positive. But, correct me if I'm wrong, but currently there are also other financial intermediaries that are also refinancing agencies, already funding small units, let's say, for example, a NABARD, let's say, for example, an NBA, NHP. Aren't they already doing something like this? And wouldn't it have been better, perhaps, for Mudra to perhaps get them in, because they already know the ground situation? Isn't it going to be difficult for Mudra to, create that kind of interest or that kind of trust that, a small funding unit probably has with a bank?
No, I think you are right. I mean, in one sense, where there are a lot of institutions, particularly the commercial banks are there, but we all know that the business with small and medium enterprises are not really a business model, in a sense of where the banking sector has been forced to increase their own profitability and all those things. And even if you look at in the past, only the public sector banks were forced to do business with microfinance institutions as well as small and medium enterprises. There is not really a business model, that is the perception, I mean. But given that kind of perception, I'm sorry that even SIDBI could not really, bring out substantial change in the way the finance happens at the, enterprise level. There was a need for a specialized institution like this, where it can have, if you look at the kind of, if you look at the press note today, this Mudra Bank is not just going to do only credit disbursement or providing financial access, but is also going to provide many more, inputs.
Okay.
And they are also going to, rate the microfinance institutions. They are also going to provide some kind of inputs to other financial institutions, refinancing the microfinance institutions. Given all this broad agenda.
Yes.
And also a specialized kind of an agenda. There was definitely a need for this kind of setup, and we cannot, ask commercial banks to do all these jobs and at the same time be competitive in the financial markets.
All right, very quickly, one more question.
Yeah.
Mudra Bank acting as a refinancing agency, great. But it's also acting as a regulator for small companies. Wouldn't this lead to some kind of conflict of interest?
No, I think that we need to really wait and see how it is going to really create some kind of tension between these two roles. I'm sure the finance ministry is open.
Yes.
If there's any that kind of situation comes in, I'm sure they are open to, address it as and when it arises.
All right. So right now, all positive signals for Mudra Bank. Thanks so much, Professor N.R. Bhanumurthy, for joining us in studio this evening and giving us a preview really of what to expect in the years to come as far as Mudra Bank is concerned. Thank you. Meanwhile, heading on to more news, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take his push to turning thriving India into a major manufacturing and investment hub to the Eurozone's two biggest economies this week on his maiden visit to the continent. He will fly to France tomorrow to finalize the Rafale deal before heading to Germany to inaugurate one of the world's biggest trade fairs.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin his visit to France, Germany and Canada from Thursday. His three-nation visit will be packed with high-intensity political, social and economic engagements besides a New York's Madison Square-like event in Toronto. Modi will hold talks with French President François Hollande, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper during his 8-day visit, which was part of India's Link West policy. A key agenda for the Prime Minister during his visit to France will be the Rafale jet deal. French President François Hollande confirmed to reporters on Tuesday that he and Modi will have discussions about the deal, estimated to be worth $12 billion.
There are discussions underway between the French company, our Ministry of Defense, with the HAL, which is involved in this. These are ongoing discussions. We don't mix up, leadership level visits with deep details of ongoing defense contracts.
Modi will also inaugurate the giant Hanover Messe Trade Fair on Sunday. The government is aggressively pushing Prime Minister's pet Make in India initiative in Hanover to make the country a manufacturing hub.
In the discussions which the Prime Minister would be having in Germany, how to get the German government and German companies more deeply involved in Ganga rejuvenation will be very much a theme.
In the last leg of the tour, Prime Minister will be in Canada, where a grand reception awaits him in Toronto.
It's the first standalone Prime Minister visit to Canada after 40 years. People-to-people contact is a very important component of a bilateral relationship. PM is also scheduled to have extensive interaction with the Indian diaspora, both in Toronto and in Vancouver.
The event is expected to be as big as the New York Madison Square Garden reception Modi received during his US visit last year. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And still here on the show, President confers the Padma Awards at a glittering ceremony at Rashtrapati Bhavan. We'll get your details in a bit.
Hottest topics.
If you can facilitate the opening up and the expansion of the international border trade, you can add to the economy.
370 धारा जो है वो जम्मू कश्मीर को मुल्क के साथ जोड़े रखती है.
Candid confessions.
The Congress has not been able to communicate.
We have to revive our links with the masses.
World-class healthcare is available to only a handful of people in this country.
Causing controversies.
A lot of leaders today think that they rule by divine right.
Now, media has become manageable.
Watch RSTV engage personalities to the point. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Thursday, 1:30 and 5:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India has extended the rescue mission in Yemen for another day to ferry stranded 140 nurses. Over 4,000 Indians residing in Yemen have been evacuated from the war-torn country, and so far, amid heavy fighting, 1,000 more were rescued since yesterday by the Indian Navy and the Air Force.
Over 4,000 Indians in war-torn Yemen have now been evacuated. The government has all but wrapped up the Operation Rahat, involving Indian Navy and Air Force to bring them back home. The operation has been extended by a day to bring back 140 stranded Indian nurses. Air India will run its last evacuation flights from Yemen's capital, Sana'a. The government has asked all Indians who want to leave to reach the capital. On Monday, India rescued more than 1,000 people by plane and ship, the second time in 2 days that such a large number have been brought out amid heavy shelling. The rescued people were brought back to Mumbai and Kochi in special flights.
डर डर के जी रहे थे, बच्चों की स्कूल की मुश्किल, मतलब हस्बैंड ऑफिस जा रहे थे तो वो आते नहीं आते, वो आने तक बहुत बहुत डर और खौफ था. बहुत मदद करी है उन्होंने, वहाँ से शुरू से लेके अब तक हम बहुत हेल्प किए.
हालात काफी खराब है सर, क्योंकि 9 अप्रैल तक निकलना है वहाँ से. लास्ट फ्लाइट विल बी देयर फ्रॉम सना टू हियर. इट विल बी ऑन द 9th of April. तो उसके बाद काफी हालात बिगड़ेंगे. इट्स मे टर्न टू द सिविल वॉर.
Fighting is going on. We came from Thais, coming from Thais to Hodeidah. From Hodeidah to Indian government more supported us, and Tamil Nadu government and Kerala government. From Cochin to we are going to our native place. Thanks for the governments and thanks for our media people also.
India is also helping other countries like United States, France, Germany to evacuate their citizens from the country embattled by Saudi-led airstrikes against the Houthi rebels. Minister V.K. Singh, who is overseeing the evacuation process, met with some of the foreigners rescued by Indian ships.
Very appreciative of you and very well treated and looked after, and I'd like to thank the Indian people for bringing us home. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, can't say enough about the Indian government for helping us to get out of Yemen. Thank you very, very much.
We all want to thank them. They are very nice people, and everything was easy for me, even though I am Yemeni. And the visa thing, in the embassy, people there, everyone is working for the same purpose, for the same aim, only to help people.
Meanwhile, 11 Indians who were evacuated by the Pakistani Navy from Yemen's Mukalla city reached Karachi and are expected to return home on Wednesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, the killing of alleged sandalwood smugglers in Chittoor forests has sparked tension between Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. The Tamil Nadu government called it a police massacre against the victims, all of whom belong to the state. The Andhra Pradesh government, however, defended the police action, claiming that smugglers don't belong to any state. But for now, the Tamil Nadu government has announced compensation of 3 lakh rupees to the families of each of the dead victims.
Protests erupted in Tamil Nadu on Wednesday against the killing of 20 alleged red sandal smugglers in the Chittoor forests of Andhra Pradesh. All the victims were reportedly from Tamil Nadu. Protesters pelted stones at Andhra Pradesh state buses to express their anger against what they alleged was a fake encounter. Several news reports also contradicted the police theory that they fired in self-defense. Many of the victims were found to have burn marks.
We felt that it is a totally fake encounter, and the opening of fire from the police side is one-sided, and the victims doesn't have any deadly weapons with them.
If 20 people die, there will be 20 liters of blood approximately should be there. There is not even a trace of blood. That is an open area. And also that locks, red sandalwood locks containing paint, they brought it from nearby place, from a godown.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister O. Pannirselvam demanded a high-level probe into the incident. The Andhra Pradesh government, however, defended its police force.
They are in chasing of that people. They are throwing stones and weapons on them, and because of their life is risk, they have opened a fire. The government of Tamil Nadu should not, they should educate the people not to come here as police or anything, and it is not good for the country.
The NHRC also issued a notice to the Andhra government seeking details of the incident. It has sought a reply within 2 weeks.
We have called for a report from the DGP Andhra and also the Chief Secretary, and we will call for further all the details, their post-mortem certificate, forensic report, and also the magistrate inquiry report. All we will call for and we will do the notification.
Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu also apprised Home Minister Rajnath Singh of the situation and sought immediate intervention to put the matter to rest. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
President Pranab Mukherjee today conferred the final round of Padma Awards at a ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Bollywood megastars Dilip Kumar and Amitabh Bachchan were awarded the second highest civilian honour, the Padma Vibhushan, but Dilip Kumar could not receive the award in person due to ill health. The other prominent figure to receive the award was Prince Karim Aga Khan. Legal luminary K.K. Venugopal, Dharmadikhari of Karnataka's Shri Manjunath Swami Temple, Virendra Hegde, nuclear scientist M. Ramaswamy Srinivasan were also honoured. Assamese film director Janu Borua was awarded the Padma Bhushan for his contribution to arts. In sports, women's hockey player Sabha Anjum and captain of Indian women's cricket team Mithali Raj were presented the Padma Shri. This year's list had 9 Padma Vibhushan, 20 Padma Bhushan and 75 Padma Shri awardees. Meanwhile, Dr. Naseem Zaidi will be the new Chief Election Commissioner of India. He will take over from the present CEC, H.S. Brahma, who retires this month. Dr. Zaidi assumed charge as Election Commissioner in 2012. The Law Ministry had cited convention of appointing the senior-most Election Commissioner as the CEC. Zaidi was associated with the Lok Sabha elections of 2014 and elections to 15 state assemblies. His tenure will be up to July 2017. A 1976 batch IAS officer, Zaidi was the Director General in the Civil Aviation Ministry before joining the election watchdog in 2012. And with that, a quick look at some other news updates from across the country. The Congress condemned Civil Aviation Minister Gajapati Raju's remark that he carried matchboxes with him on flights since he is not subjected to frisking. Congress General Secretary Shakil Ahmed termed the disclosure unfortunate. He said ministers are not entitled to be frisked as a privilege, but they should not break the law of the land. Congress MLA staged a walkout in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly against the alleged failure of the PDP-NDA government to airlift the body of a policeman killed in terrorist attack in Shopian on Monday. The minister said in the absence of the initiative by the government, the family got the body airlifted themselves. Terrorists killed 3 policemen in 2 separate attacks. The Delhi government will prepare a detailed report on the National Green Tribunal's order banning diesel vehicles older than 10 years. In an effort to curb hazardous automobile emissions, the National Green Tribunal on Tuesday banned these vehicles from the NCR region. The order came into effect from Wednesday in New Delhi. Up next, international news, and the Greek Prime Minister is meeting the Russian President seeking a bailout package for his country.
The 14th Finance Commission. Understand the logic, the thinking. Has it given a fair share to the states?
The Commission has tried to protect the interests of both the centre and states.
Watch a special report. A fair share only on Rajya Sabha television.
जिस दिन पाकिस्तान एक सहज देश होगा, एक एंटी इंडियन नेशन नहीं होगा बल्कि एक अपने आप में एक देश होगा, तब वो इस साझा विरासत को स्वीकार करेगा ही।
राजेंद्र माथुर का लेखन तथ्यपरक और पक्के इतिहास बोध के साथ होता था।
उनकी नजर, उनका शहर। देखिए राजेंद्र माथुर पर एक खास कार्यक्रम।
Welcome back. Some international news now. And the Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras began talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin today in an effort to bail out the troubled nation. Greece is hopeful for a financial bailout to tide over its worst credit crisis in recent times. Putin could offer a lift on a ban on food imports from Greece, imposed in response to the European Union economic sanctions over Russia's role in the Ukraine crisis, or propose a discount on gas deliveries. Greece is racing against time to meet a Thursday deadline to repay a €450 million loan to the International Monetary Fund. Putin said that the leaders will look into ways to increase the turnover between Russia and Greece. And with that, let's get you all the international news and updates in Global Buzz. Hundreds of flights were cancelled to and from France after air traffic controllers started a 2-day strike over working conditions. The controllers are asking airlines to cut scheduled flights by 40%. Short-haul flights are among the worst affected. U.S. Secretary of Defense Ash Carter was in Tokyo for his first official Asian tour. He was welcomed by Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Carter said the U.S. President Barack Obama was looking forward for Abe's visit in a few weeks and also to complete new guidelines for a historic alliance to ensure peace in the region. Taiwanese President Ma Ying-jeou has said that his country will follow past practice to join the Beijing-backed Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank as Chinese Taipei. China welcomed Taiwan's letter of intent to participate in the bank under an appropriate name. The Kenyan government has ordered the closure of 13 money transfer firms to prevent militant Islamists from using them to finance attacks. Bank accounts of 86 individuals and entities were also frozen. Most of those targeted are believed to be Somalis and Muslims. The move comes after an assault by the Somalia-headquartered Al-Shabaab group killed 148 people at Kenya's Garissa University last week. Alright, with that, let's get you all the sports beat of the major sporting news. Michael Phelps will return to the competition after a 6-month ban for drunk driving. The most decorated Olympian in history will compete in Mesa in Arizona from the 15th to the 18th of April. The ban was imposed last September. The Haryana government today announced financial assistance of 1 lakh to the state-level gold medalist boxer Rishu Mittal. This was after news reports disclosed that she was forced to work as a domestic help to continue her passion for the sport and to support her schooling. Her coach Rajinder Singh called Rishu a promising talent. Arsenal midfielder Jack Wilshere is ready for return after a serious ankle injury. He underwent 2 operations on his left ankle, after being injured against Manchester United. He will play for the under-21 side after a serious ankle injury. And that's it on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.